I've seen you in person a few times. The last time you were on the show was via Zoom.
Yes.
And your daughter, Penelope, did that lovely thing that was happening in the early days of the pandemic. She just fully crashed.
She just
the
fully
interview.
entered the Zoom, yeah.
Yeah, and was not very complimentary to either of us.
No, she entered the Zoom. I believe she's wearing like a colonial lady outfit, because, as one does. And then she just got behind me and just went. And did like a slow exit. You know.
Does she like her time on camera? She did seem very comfortable.
She was a little too comfortable at that time. Yeah, they both are. You know, Penelope ended up on Girls Five Eva, but Alice and Penelope are both really funny. They have a great sense of humor. I am embargoed from speaking about them on talk shows.
Gotcha.
Because that's what happens. Like, they're such a gold mine for stories at first, and then someday Axel is going to come to you and be like, "I'm the lobby baby."
Yeah.
Really, Dad?
It's gonna be a problem.
I'm the lobby baby. And you're like, oh, well, and you have to backpedal.
I'm just hoping Netflix won't be around by then, you know.
Well,
hey, can we talk about this? Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, okay, so that is, again, back in the days when I used to talk about them, this is the other thing that, like, such a weird New York childhood that our kids have. That, like, my older daughter is 16 now, and she was talking to another teenager and he was saying, like, yeah, it was hard, because, you know, like, I got made into a meme. She's like, yeah, I was a meme once, too. Like, kids are growing up, like, being like, yeah, I was memed once. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I knew she had been a meme when she was little, and I don't know when she found out she was a meme.
Right, because you didn't tell her.
No. Yeah. Because it wasn't my fault, but she was a fantastic meme.
It's a really good meme.
Does anyone remember this meme? What's your camera?
Here, right over there, go over there.
I don't like that.
Yeah, this
I mean, that's a fantastic meme.
Yeah.
Even this, I might still get in trouble for re-showing this on that camera, sure.
But she looks really good. Now, is that, can we assume, is that you?
That's me looking just bedraggled.
Yeah.
And I think part of the meme was like she was living high on the hog and I was bedraggled. Thank you for cropping me out of that.
I do love it. I mean, it is, somebody really nailed it when they were like,
and there were ones like, they would put that next to like Michael Cera or like next to like Happy Leo DiCaprio. It's a whole thing.
Now, you did a thing that I think is very kind of a parent to do. You allowed your children to get a pet. What kind of pet do you have in there?
Oh, yeah, I own a bearded dragon.
Okay.
Seth, yeah.
Who wanted the bearded dragon?
Penelope was very much into the lizard reptile
and she was
lifestyle.
specific of this one?
Yeah, YouTube will tell you a lot about different kinds of lizards and stuff. And
what kind? Is it a boy lizard, a girl lizard?
Their name is Herman.
Okay.
And they're like this big.
Okay.
And then it's like, you know those little sponge capsules that you put in water? And then it's like, he's already this big. I think, from what I'm told, bearded dragons, they don't have a gender at first.
Okay.
Their genitals develop over time.
Gotcha.
We've decided that their name is Herman no matter what.
Okay.
And none of us is really into, like, digging for the genitals.
Right.
We're just kind of like, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Right.
They live alone in a tank.
Yeah, Herman's not filling out a Tinder profile or anything.
Exactly. Herman's not looking to meet people. By the way, my mom is staying with me right now, and guess what? She's going to say, why did I see your elbows? And I'm going to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you like them?
It's great. By the way, you came out and I saw it and I thought to myself, that is a wonderful sartorial choice.
Yeah,
because that's fashion right there.
Fashion.
Fashion.
Yes.
But that is a very big asterisk that your mother is staying with you.
Oh, this is not for anyone's mom is going to be like, what?
That is her euphoria, that you're wearing that.
I'm not going to understand it. I'm not going to try to understand it. I won't even look at it. Lizards, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to move. Can I move off from lizards? Do you have more to add?
Please. No, I will say that the only thing about lizards is that you also then get to be the owner of 60 or 70 live crickets every week also.
Now, I'm assuming these are not around for the lizard's companionship.
They are, no, they're their food. Yeah.
So you get 60 crickets a week.
Yeah.
Do the crickets?
You have to go get them.
Okay.
And then they sing all night in your apartment. And it's so sad because they don't know they're on death row. They're singing like they're in Central Park. Death row.
That is heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
Because you know.
I know what's going down.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of genitals Herman has, but I know what's going to go down with those crickets.
You know he's got a mouth.
Yeah.
They have a mouth.
I should have brought a picture because when Herman eats, they look exactly like Don Rickles.
Really?
Yeah, I'll send you a picture.
Okay, great. That was a clip from Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Dreamcast, Ted Danson,
Yes.
Holly Hunter, and then our friend Bobby Moynihan.
Bobby Moynihan,
Yeah.
Bella Lavelle, and Mike Caballon, and they are so funny. Yeah, it's so fun to get to work with Bobby again, because we didn't overlap all that much, me and Bobby.
Yeah.
Or maybe at all. I don't remember.
He might have been there right, like probably the 2008 year when you were coming back for Sarah.
So much when my late time when I was there was such a blur that I like sometimes I'm like, Mulaney's not Jost, right?
Yeah. A lot of people have that problem. Yeah.
But yeah, Bob and Ted Danson and Holly Hunter, and like but sometimes Ted Danson will call me and I still like my phone will say like it'll say Ted Danson and I'm like that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I would say both Ted and Holly are the kind of people that if you came up with any sort of respect or curiosity about comedy, like they're two people that you're just thrilled. You can't believe you get to talk to them.
Yes, you can't believe you get to talk to them, and you spend a lot of energy like making sure you don't say like, "I want a toddler high." Like you can't. You have to like not do their catchphrases to them. There's things you love about them. We did that show. We monitored because of the endless pandemic. They would be filming in California, and I would monitor the set from home. So it would be like later, it'd be like 7 o'clock at night, I'd be cleaning up dinner, and I'd have a little computer with a Zoom open. I could see the set on my TV, and then the Zoom was if the actors wanted to talk to me. So sometimes Holly Hunter would just be like, "You got anything for me?" And I'm like, "Okay, yes. I think one where you're really like," and I'd just be like making. And she knew I was making stuff up.
You also have Girls Five Eva.
Yes.
This is about to come out again, season 2 on Peacock.
Season 2 of Girls 5 Eva comes out. You can remember it very easily. It's May 5th. It's Girls 5 Eva on 5/5.
Oh, look at that.
Classy.
Very nicely done.
Yes, on Peacock. I had my friend Andrea Martin. You guys know comedy.
Yeah, of course.
She wanted to watch Girls 5 Eva, and so I went to her house, and for like 2 hours, I got Peacock on her TV. And I'm willing to do that for anybody that needs it. And then she loved it. Anyway, so yeah, that comes out starring Paula Pell, Sarah Bareilles, Busy Phillips, Renee Elise Goldsberry, guest stars Andrew Rannells, guest star Amber Ruffin.
Amber Ruffin, who is just right here next to me. John Lutz, both of this show and 30 Rock and SNL fame.
Yes, John Lutz and Paula Pell are reunited if you guys were fans of the Mapleworth murders, and you should be.
You, speaking of murders, you got to be in Only Murders in the Building.
Yes.
By the way, speaking of murders was a terrible segue.
Speaking of murders,
I think you have something to tell everybody about the Bayside Strangler. So you got to work. Now, obviously, over the years, you've gotten to hang out, work with Steve Martin and Marty Short, but being with them at the same time just must
honestly, it's like one of the greatest joys of my life that I've gotten to meet those guys and to be, have a small part on Only Murders in the Building, a show that my whole family enjoys and is very invested in. And it is the most joyful set because those guys love each other.
They really do.
They love each other so much. It's the happiest set. Also, it's fun to do a murder mystery thing because you just kind of get your pages and sometimes you don't know what's happening and you don't have any context for why your character is doing that. And for me, that doesn't change my acting at all.
Right.
So that's like, sure.
You never cared about the backstory of your character.
No.
You know, it's funny because we've obviously done charity events, the same kind of events that those guys do. And the amazing thing about Marty and Steve is how seriously they take being silly.
Yes.
And like when you see them backstage before they go on, they're like writing jokes. They're like they're constantly tightening the screws, and like how much they care about the minutia of comedy, I think, speaks to the longevity of what they've been doing. For
sure, they love probably rehearsing as much as they love doing stuff.
And the process of it, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So I think we had dinner the Tuesday before the final Christmas SNL.
Yes, we went out to dinner.
Yes.
Which by the end of the week that seemed insane.
Yes.
Because it was right when Omicron hit.
Yep. And it was like, ha ha, we're so crazy for being out to dinner.
Yeah.
And then like by Wednesday, it was like, I can't believe we went
out to dinner. Are we
crazy?
We had families.
Yeah. But then the crazy thing was so Paul Rudd hosted the Christmas episode of SNL and you showed up and that was crazy.
It was crazy. That whole week was crazy. I think that week, the Thursday night, I went to I was a guest at this show, Freestyle Love Supreme on Broadway. Did anyone get to see that? It was very cool. So it was an fully improvised rap. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda's show, and it's a fully improvised rap musical. And they were like, will you come and be a special guest? And I used to be a professional improviser.
Famously.
I was in a union for it.
Right.
And I was like, I would love to. And then as it got closer, I started to panic more and more. I was like, they know that I don't improvise like raps though, right? Like I kept emailing people like, but not music, just like a story. And they were like, you're gonna have a great time. And as it got closer, I got more and more nervous. And the day of, I emailed with the stage manager. I was like, but not, they know I can't do music, right? And then they were like, sure, for sure. I got there. And then also like everyone in the city had COVID. I was like, why am I in a theater? This is nuts. Lin-Manuel Miranda was in the show that night, I think because everyone else had COVID, I'm not sure. And so I go with them and they're rehearsing me and they're like, do you want to play this game? And this game, you would just have to like sing the hook. And I was like, I do not. I had looked up, I was like, who are the other people who have been guests? So I looked it up and it was like, oh, Wayne Brady, that's not good, that's not good. And it was like, Jimmy did this. Like, and so I was like, nope, can't sing the hook, I'll tell a story. And they were really nice about it. And then seemed fine. And then we go to warm up before the show. And they said, we're gonna do like an improv warm up if you wanna come down. And so I go to the basement, we're doing like regular improv warm ups. And I'm like, okay, we're in a circle. And then they start doing their rap warm up, which is then like take like words out of a bucket and they freestyle rap and it's amazing. And they pass it to each other and every single person is amazing. And I'm in this circle and I'm starting like sweating from like my spine out. And then they get to the person next to me and then I just like lean back and then that person just gives it back to Lin-Manuel who, you know, does another one and then like tries to throw it to me. And I looked at Lin-Manuel Miranda and I went, no, I don't do that. And then I threw myself on the ground. And I was like, if anyone's taken improv, like the only thing you're not supposed to do is yell no. I told Amy that story. She's like, why didn't you just go like, zoop-de-beep-de-boop? I was like, I panicked. But I just told a story and it was fine.
All right, good.
That's part one of the weekend.
Yeah.
So then that's Thursday. I wake up Friday, convinced I have COVID, right? I was with a full theater of people. I'm supposed to shoot at Only Murders, but they test you all the time. I'm like, okay, my test is good. I go to Only Murders in the building. I'm supposed to shoot with Marty and Steve and then Selena Gomez. And so I'm rehearsing with Marty, you have your masks on, and they go, and I'm like, okay. And then they go to put the microphone on you, and then you're gonna take your mask off and they're gonna shoot. And I was like, my throat hurts a little bit, right? And I thought, you know, I don't wanna, I'm not taking Marty and Steve and Selena down, no way. So I pulled someone aside, like, can I have another rapid test? And they're like, you know what, we're just gonna see what Disney says. And apparently what Disney says was get out of here. So they sent me home and I messed up the beginning of the story is that I already knew on Tuesday that I was supposed to go to SNL on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because they needed someone to do update because
oh, right.
Jost was out.
Jost had COVID.
Right, we can say that now,
yeah.
I guess. And so I was like, okay. So then they kick me out of Only Murders. I go home and I'm like, they give me another test, still good. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do update. I go to SNL, it's a ghost town. Everyone's there. Rudd is there. People are dropping like flies, getting pulled, going home. And then somehow that weird show, it was just like me and Rudd and Keenan and Che and Tom Hanks. Like somehow me and Tom Hanks are the Expendables. It was like, no one cares if these two die. And Tom Hanks is like, I had it first.
You had it first, yeah.
Yeah. That
was the thing. They said if you got it, if you were willing to get it first, you'd be immune forever.
That's
yeah.
That's
the deal.
No,
that's
right.
the deal he made. Yeah.
Okay. And then it was fine. And then I never got COVID. So probably tonight.
You sent me a very lovely text that was both complimentary and maybe a little concerned after you saw Day Drinking with Seth and Lizzo.
Yes. I watched it, we all did, and it was hilarious and fantastic, and Lizzo's the best, obviously, but I texted you and Shoemaker and said, like, but you don't really drink all that, right? And Shoemaker wrote back, he does drink all of that, and he actually drinks more than that, and we have to cut it down for air because the network is worried it's irresponsible.
Yeah.
And so then I went back and I rewatched like Ina Garten and I was like, I became concerned for you.
Yeah.
That's so much alcohol.
I know, it's, and I'm not getting any younger. Well, I really wear it for like a full week.
I was gonna say, because I wanted to say to you, like, can I do an imitation of what I imagine your lovely spouse, Alexi, must feel like when you come home from one of those?
I'll tell you how accurate it is.
Okay, because I feel like if I were your wife and you came home from day drinking with Lizzo, I would be like this. I'd be like, it was good? Okay. We don't want to go out for subs. The kids ate. Okay. Wow. Either brush your teeth or go to bed. Is it that kind of a...
I will tell you that 2 back, she said, I have an idea. I think you, when it's over, should stay at a nearby hotel.
Hotel, yeah. I actually sort of assumed that maybe you did.
She was like, yeah, why don't you let yourself off the hook for a night?
Yeah. Instead of coming back and like, oh, she was so funny, great.
Yeah, she loves hearing. She loves me being really drunk, sort of like just singing the praises of a pop star.
Of Rihanna, yeah.
Rihanna's so real.
Oh, I bet, she's so real.
So happy, that was her happiest day. You just did, when we were texting, when you wrote me that, I was like, where are you? And you were in London working on a movie with Kenneth Branagh.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
It's crazy. So yeah, I got to go to London for 3 months and work on this movie called A Haunting in Venice, which I'll come back when it comes out. I'll tell you about it then.
Okay.
But I loved getting a chance to live in London, and I've come back, I'm insufferable. I say things like jacket potato.
Oh, wow.
Now.
That's a good one. You gotta really be there for like
a jacket potato. It's like, what? It's so nice there. It's oh my gosh, the subway system is like stab free.
Oh, that's nice.
And
you don't miss it a little bit? You don't miss the thrill of like, is today the day I get stabbed?
Yeah, I don't miss the like Serpico vibe on no. Yeah. You can buy wine in the grocery store. Also, like everything has adorable names. Every product has like everything's cute. So you'd be like, I just get some like fizzy nobblers, like they're tampons, right? Yeah. So the fizzy nobblers, the gabbledy-gobs, and like if they're the suppositories for when you're constipated, yes. Everything's like just charming.
Those are the gabbledy-gobs?
Yeah, gabbledy-gobs.
Oh, that's good to know. Helpful to know.
Yeah, if you get there, you want to get gabbledy-gobs because you travel.
Because you know how I am when I fly.
You don't.
Yeah. I need them like immediately.
But it was delightful, and as I'm sure you know from your one night drunk in the hotel, like being away from your family is wonderful.
Yeah, really.
It's wonderful.
I mean, the only thing that's better than me being in a hotel a block away, being away from your family in a different time zone, when you got to be like, I tried to call, but you were asleep.
My husband would call me and be like, both dogs have diarrhea, and I'd be like, oh, it's nighttime here. It's nighttime. I'm so sorry. And then they got to come to London for Christmas, which was great.
Perfect.
And we all had a wonderful time. But I felt like a person who had escaped a cult and then was pulled back into that cult.
That scene where the cult finds you.
Yes, where like the weird guy in shorts comes to you and says like, hey, you've really forgotten your belief system, and like, remember what we believe here is that you gain value in your life by picking up our wet towels. Like, this is who you are. Look how many shoes we brought. Everyone brought it. So
we were very happy you went back.
And I was like, you're right. You guys are probably right. And then I came home.
Well, we're very happy to have you back in the city.
Thank
you. Last thing before you go, there's going to be a new season of Girls 5 Eva on Netflix, which is really exciting.
Very excited. Yes. Seasons 1 and 2 are still available on Peacock. Our friends at Peacock have those. If you are a jacket potato in the UK, you can see 1 and 2 on Netflix.
That's great.
Elsewhere in the world. And then season 3 is going to be on Netflix. They're starting shooting soon. I'm super excited. Meredith Scardino is like the funniest person in the world. And of course, Paul Appel, Sarah Bareilles, Renee Goldsberry.
Busy Phillips.
Busy Phillips.
That's great. It's a great cast. It's a great show.